Okay, you are live over channel 18. All right, you guys are live. Carolyn, you'll have to unmute.
Yeah, everyone's muted automatically, so you have to unmute to.
Well, I think I am.
Yeah, you are.
Yeah.
Carolyn's not. There you go.
Sarah, are we ready?
Yep, you're ready.
Good morning. This is Monday, July 27th, the meeting of the Marine and Freshwater Quality Task Force via Zoom. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Somehow in the effort to get out this agenda, I think the agenda that you got was it says draft at the top. Beside agenda.
No,
No. Did you? Okay, then you got the final one that has public comment at the moment at the bottom.
yep,
Correct.
Okay, then you got the right one. All right. So the first thing we want to do is to look at the minutes of March 16th. And does anybody have any comments on those minutes? We have been over them several times before, but I think,
I know we have, but on Dredge Committee report, second paragraph, I have not been able to confirm or deny whether or not Eastham has provided any financial support for the permitting. So I'd just like to delete that line until I have definitive information.
Except the minutes are just supposed to record what was said.
Well,
it's
okay,
not
then we
the
leave it as
follow-up
is.
to what was found to be the case.
I will put a correction in today's minutes then saying that I have not been able to confirm or deny that.
Perfect.
okay, any other comments, corrections on the minutes of March 16th? Do I have a motion to approve?
Move approval.
Judith moves approval. Do I have a second?
Second.
Carol
Second.
seconds. All in favor, we have to do this by poll, I guess, so. Judith,
Judith, yay.
Carol,
Yay.
Ed,
Yes.
Judy,
Yes.
Carolyn, yes. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Betsy, yes.
Bessie, sorry. 6, 0. Thank you all. Okay. On to the one from June. Any comments?
Move approval. Judith.
Second.
Second, Judy Scanlon. All in favor again? I think we have to do this by poll.
Judith, aye.
Carol,
Yes.
Judy,
Yes.
Betsy,
Yes.
Carolyn. Yes, Ed,
Yes.
yes. So we have a 6-0 approval of the June minutes. Thank you very much.
Thanks to the minute takers.
Yes.
Yes.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Okay. The next item on the agenda is the management of Uncle Harvey's Pond and progress and receipt of signed letters. Betsy,
Betsy is recused unless you have a specific question you address to
I-
me.
I have a direct question for you.
Okay.
Aside from the about 5 that George let us know about last week, have you been in contact with any of the other abutters? We talked about.
Yes, one abutter sent in a letter and took it directly to town hall and George never got it. So I have provided them with a new affidavit copy. They have completed it. I self-addressed and stamped the envelope myself. So I hope this time George, in fact, is able to receive it. There were also 1, 2, 3, there were 4 other individuals who had signed the petition for alum who had not yet responded. And same thing, I provided them with blank affidavits. Part of the problem is, what I discovered is, after all this, even though it's on the BSG or BSC Gantt chart, no due date was on either the affidavit or the communication. So summertime, people didn't see a due date. They probably just put it on the corner of their kitchen table. So hopefully there's 4 more coming. And the Orleans Conservation Trust has their board meeting tomorrow. They had to wait a month for the board meeting. It does not appear that there will be any issues, but we will not have a final vote until that board meeting takes place.
Okay, but it sounds like we're on the road.
I hope so. I guess I had assumed that BSG would be doing follow-up, but apparently not.
I thought they were too. And I also thought that once we got through the draft letter, that they would put a deadline date on it. Never
No,
occurred to me.
that a
they wouldn't.
deadline date, people kind of, I think, put it to the side.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Refusing again.
So thank you for your help. So that's where we're at. I hope by next month we will have all of those back in, and we'll be on our way to the next stage.
Must we have all of those back
Yes,
before we proceed?
yes.
Well,
So, excuse me, but Carolyn, both Walter North and Laura have joined. Laura is the LS phone.
Ah,
Sarah, I'm taking the minutes, so you don't have to worry about them.
Perfect. Thanks, Betsy.
Huh?
Okay, great. Thank you, Lara. Glad you're here.
without a due date and the need for everyone to sign that petition, consent letter, isn't one way to sink the whole project, just never send it back?
Unless we end up sending a legal return request type letter to those that are missing, or go knock on the door. Yes.
And it seems like a very easy passive aggressive thing to do.
Could be.
Well, it's also a really hard time to reach people. So, you send things to their primary address, which is home, but they may be here on the Cape in a summer home. Or you send it to the summer home and they're not there. I mean, it's a really tough time to try to connect with people, I find.
That is true, except we said the same thing in the dead of winter.
Thank you, Carol.
Sorry to be
Agreed.
such a
And-
little cheerful
You're right,
person
Carol.
here.
Agreed. And this is crazier than normal because people are doing things that they never normally do.
That's true for sure.
And they're very apt to not answer their door if someone's knocking.
I agree, which is why we haven't done
That's
that yet.
another reality of today.
Yeah.
I think it would have to be phone calls if we could try that and then say, I will meet you at such and such a time and place, and hand you an affidavit to fill out. So yes, it has been crazy all the way around. And I never occurred to me that they were not going to put a deadline date on that letter. So that's where we are at the moment. Hopefully, in the next few weeks, we'll have some better participation there.
May I now make a public comment?
Sure.
Okay, just wanted you to know that all 4 people that I knocked on their door were more than happy to have me scotch tape it to the door. So they recognized me, but they did not open the door, but I was able to make contact. And the second point was way back in the beginning of this process. I can't recall, but I've asked George Meserve to research. Originally, it was stated that a no response was okay to go ahead. So I did raise that to George, that if in fact that's still true, then we should have that clarified so that 1 or 2 are not holding up the whole process.
I think that was George's hope,
Yeah, I don't think.
but
that's-
but that was, town council said that was not
Well, they did. Town council
legal way to
officially
do
weighed
it.
in.
Yes.
Okay, I did not know that.
If you can't verify that they received the request, though, it's pretty hard to assume that they agree with it.
Good point. That's why the two I delivered, one was Ohio and I saw a Ohio license plate in the driveway. The other was Florida. So it tended, most of the follow-ups tended to be people whose mail went to another location.
But it wasn't sent with any kind of certified return receipt, right?
That is correct.
Yeah.
So
So
maybe,
if we,
Yeah,
maybe
you're
a
right.
certified receipt.
Judy,
for the
you're right. It
follow-up.
really helps to track down who hasn't responded, so you can just, or who
Right.
hasn't gotten it, so you can go chase them down.
yeah,
So
I think
there's-
that's what we'll have to do.
Yeah,
The
so if there's
negative
only 3
don't
left,
click
that's not a
on
big
it.
deal to do.
Just a note, if you do leave them, you can't have them sign a certified mail return receipt that you delivered it. You actually have to write a letter with them signing it because it's illegal for them to sign a certified mail return receipt. Like if you acting as the postmaster.
Yeah, the certified would never constitute approval of the project or their
No.
signature. It would only let us know that they actually got it.
No, that's what I'm
Correct.
saying. It's illegal to do that. Like you can't act as the postmaster and say, hey, here's your letter. Can you sign this certified mail return receipt that you got it? You have to have a letter that says, my name is Judith Bruce and I dropped this off to XYZ and I did receive it. That's what they have to sign is a letter.
Right.
Okay.
Okay, on to, just gonna flip this 1 minute because I can't see everybody on the same screen. Walter, did you have a question? I see you typed in certified mail. Do you have any other question or thing you wanted to say? Okay. I have to flip screens to get everybody on the screen. All right, estuary sampling. Seemed to go well. Although we did that training and I'm not sure exactly how many people got to the training or took it thereafter. I have a list of the people who went to the original one because I could copy their names off the screen. People seem to be a little beginnerish at this. The first time around, the second time around went much more smoothly.
Carolyn, for
Um,
files, do you want people to send you an email or something that says that they did the training?
People were asked to do that at the first training. So if you did, yes, I would say do that.
Right, but if you didn't, if you just did the recording.
Then if you want to send me an email, I'll add you to the list.
Okay, thank you.
We had a little bit of a mix up on things the first time around because the buoys apparently did not get out. And so people were trying to guess locations from their previous experience if they had previous experience. So I have been out with one boater to locate his. I have worked with George and the harbor master and Judy to get the other ones in place. So hopefully the next time will be a charm and people will be able to find exactly where they're supposed to be.
Yeah, Carolyn, I wanted to publicly state a big thank you to Nate Sears for responding quickly and getting them out once he was made aware of the need and the locations.
I think Judy and I have concluded that before next summer, we need to make new maps.
Yes,
And give some of these places new names because, for example, the one I've been doing forever is called Rattles Dock. Rattles Dock hasn't existed for a very long time. It's a dock in approximately the same place, but
it hasn't
and
been
this-
the Rattles for 15 years, probably.
so I think new maps with the new cuts are due and new probably to re-GPS them all too, so that we make sure we're in the right places. And repeating the same thing. So that's a to-do list for next year, I think. Anybody have any other comments?
Yeah, Carolyn, I
Yes,
just want to mention that Lonnie's Pond, it's in a totally different place than it has been in the last few years. And the first one, we estimated where it used to be, and we're almost a meter deeper where we did the first one than we are now. I'm just curious how they came up with that spot.
Should be the
Well,
deep, but
that pond has a peculiar habit, it seems to me. They never put a long enough rope on it. And so when you get a really high tide, it picks itself up and it moves. Sometimes it's moved all the way over to the south side of the pond. So.
Well, I know the other buoy was found in Frostfish Cove from Lonnie's.
Right, so,
if my memory serves me right, it's about 16 feet, the deepest spot in
Yeah, well,
Lonnie.
we were in about 12 feet.
Yeah, it should be around 16 feet.
so if you can fiddle around and find the deep spot, that would be great. If you want to move the buoy to that spot, that would be fine.
Okey-doke.
Thanks. That one is particularly hard to keep in place for some reason. I don't know whether they haven't got enough weight on the bottom of it or a long enough cord to compensate for the tide differential. Depends on when they put it in.
I can ask Nate to relocate it
Okay,
and put a bigger, longer rope and a heavier weight.
that one's been particularly hard to keep in place. That would be great. Thank you.
All right.
Okay, so I think our way of taking in samples with Carol and Betsy on the porch out there with the tables has worked out well for everybody. Everybody enjoys being outside rather than inside.
It's
And
actually more efficient than going inside.
Definitely.
yes. Yeah, we in the past have done it with two people. Judy was taking in some outside when she couldn't paddle and after her operations, and I was doing some inside. So we have done it that way before, but I think this works really well for everybody.
Yeah, it eliminates the bottleneck at the inner door.
Right.
And then we don't have to repack the samples.
That's right.
Yeah, we're packing them on the
Done.
spot. And I also want to thank Judy and Sig for offering their big van to move the samples down to Chatham and onward to New Bedford. So she's doing a great service for all of us, all four towns, and being able to get all of that stuff into her one big van.
Oh, so Judy, you actually drove to New Bedford with all the samples.
Twice already, yep.
Okay,
That's huge. Thank you so much.
Happy to do it. We also try to go on to Westport to the orchard and get fruit for our farm stand. So it's a win-win.
Okay, so the message I sent out to everybody the other day was we're moving on to August, and Monday's in August. So hopefully people have got that on their calendars. I'm going to have to do a little rearrangement of a couple of teams. I have in mind how to do this, and I'll do it later on today. My sampling partner is undergoing cataract surgery in the next 2 months, so she's going to be out of the loop on lifting canoes and doing all that stuff. So anyway, I'll work that out today, I hope. Okay, on to PALS. PALS starts mid-August, which actually turns out to be the 17th of August and goes through the 15th of September. So Judith, I don't know whether you're willing to do some organizing on this again.
Sure.
I think Ed is willing to take in the samples. At least he kind of insinuated that at one point. We need to recheck that with him. And when we finish adding up bottles today, we can put it in an order for how many we need.
So do
Um,
do we have any bottles to start this off with?
no, we don't. So that's why today we need to figure that out. And that's one of the reasons I sent out that worksheet, is it has all the numbers of bottles on it. Plus we need to add ones for dupes. So I'm wondering who is, I don't know whether we need to decide first on dates or first on who's willing to do what.
So I always prefer August to September, only because for 20 years, that's when I've been doing my pond. So for comparability, I just feel like it's better to get similar times of the year.
Okay, I think I put on that thing I sent you the dates we did it last year.
Um,
I'm trying to pull that up right now. You know, I couldn't print it. It was blank.
Yeah, the
Uh,
the
I sent
reason.
a second one this morning,
For
so.
me, but
That's the one I'm looking at.
the
no.
only dates that I got on it, Carolyn, were 2018.
Yeah,
Spring 2019 showed, but spring 20 didn't, if it's on there. And
no, it's not on there.
fall 2019 didn't show. So,
I just quickly did it last night and I didn't put all that information in there, so.
okay.
Can we do it anytime in August? Is that what you said?
I think it starts the 17th.
And we cannot do it on Friday, so it has to be Monday through Thursday.
But did you say it starts the 17th, Carolyn, or can it be earlier than that?
He said to me August 15th. Well, yeah, August 15th is a Saturday, so it has to be the 17th.
Okay.
Can we shoot for that first week?
How does that work for,
Yeah, the
Ed, are
only,
you gonna be able to do, like Uncle Israel's or any?
I think Ed prefers not to sample this year.
Yeah, I don't like to do Uncle Israel's.
I can.
Okay,
It requires too much bending in my knees. Can't do it.
okay. Are you willing to do any?
Yeah, I could maybe one or two or one. Maybe, is Mike Brink still okay for Pilgrim?
I haven't asked him, but that's on my list of things to do this
Hey.
afternoon.
I did
His-
Pilgrim this spring, but I think Mike would probably do it. I can,
Yeah,
Are you gonna-
I can go out with Mike. His canoe is like 20 feet long, so we can each socially distance very well.
Okay. All right, I need to talk to him this afternoon, so I will ask him about that.
and I don't mind doing Uncle Israel's. My old titanium knee is great. My new titanium knee is doing just fine.
Good.
Get
William
some,
says he wants to sample 4 ponds, but I think we're probably good for 3 in one day. But he says 4, so we can push for 4 if he's up for it, and he is.
So Laura, which
Okay.
ones do you want to do?
I don't care. Just
William, which ones do you want to do, William?
yeah, he doesn't know. I think he likes to do Baker's, Crystal, and then last time we did not Cranberry Hole. Oh, I think I'm gaining my grandmother's
Oh,
disease.
you did Meadow Bog.
Meadow Bog. Yeah, we did Meadow
I
Bog.
I didn't think I could get in or out. You want to still do
Yeah,
that?
That's good for us. We could do,
Okay.
and if anybody can't do Pilgrim, I'm sure we'll do Pilgrim too.
Okay,
But
we'll
I
see if we
don't
can get,
do all those 4 on one day. We can definitely do the 3.
okay.
I will happily do deep. Sarah's shoal. And I can do more if needed, but let's see, I don't want to take joy from others.
What was the first one you said, Judith?
Deep. So
Okay, Deep Shoal and Sarah's.
Gould, so I'll go right down the list in order. Deep,
Okay,
Gould, Sarah's, Shoal.
okay,
And Uncle
I'm
Israel's?
doing Uncle Israel's.
Yeah, okay, so I have 1, 2, 3, I got 5 for you, Judith.
Yeah,
okay,
so, because we're no longer doing Critchett's. I used to do that one, but we're not doing Critchett.
no. Judy, have you got your hand up?
I did a couple things. If you need help, Carolyn, think I helped you last year with Boland. I'm happy to be a backup if you need help.
Okay,
Number 2, to Judith Bruce, I'll be making those runs to New Bedford every 2 weeks for the estuary sampling. So if you can coordinate with Ed, I could pick up bottles when I'm down there dropping off samples for the pals. I
Well,
can also,
we're definitely going to want the bottles back for 8:15. So we can
Right.
start at 17. So,
right,
Right.
so the next sampling, if they have the bottles available and ready, I could bring them back.
On the
Yeah, the
10th, if they
sampling.
have them.
the sampling is on the 10th, so that would be perfect because it's the week
Yep.
before.
I can also pick up other towns too, because it's a big van.
okay, Carolyn, I'm seeing that last year, Laura and I did Kettle. Do you want me to do Kettle this year? Do you want Kettle done?
I don't know whether you can even get into that. I went by there yesterday and the grass in front of it on Kettle Pool Pondway is 3 to 4 feet tall, so.
We
it
can
would be-
get in. It's no problem. William and I can do it.
You gonna do it, Laura? Okay.
Yeah.
And it's very shallow.
Is that grassy area on Kettle town property or is it private property? Anyone know?
I think we looked that up once and I have a feeling it's town property.
We know 2 of the abutters, so we're glad to get in and ask them if we can use their property if need be.
Okay,
I was just gonna get your permission to whack down a path in, but that's-
Oh. Gotcha.
that would be fine.
do you want me to?
The front section of that pond towards Kettle Pondway tends to get shallow first. And it is true black mayonnaise muck in the bottom. So you really have to be careful getting in. I don't know which direction you get in from, but it has its hazards. Plus all the trees are in it right now. So
And
check it out
Carolyn-
before you dive.
Carolyn, I helped you out last year too with Judy being out, so fit in wherever I can assist.
Okay. All right, so I usually have done Boland and Uncle Harvey's and Ice House.
I can definitely help you with Uncle Harvey's Pond and provide you with a
Okay.
canoe.
Okay. And the other one that I've done in the past is Twinings.
Oh, yes, I did that with you one year and with Lara.
Yeah, so I will
So,
take responsibility for getting those 4 done.
okay, so you
Boland,
need me
Uncle
to team up on Uncle Harvey's and Twining?
Okay,
What's left?
And
and then maybe
And-
Judy could help me on Boland and Ice House.
yes,
Yeah, I think I did those last year.
Oh, and
Yeah.
I'll do Uncle Seth's as well. I'll go out
Okay.
to Michael and do Uncle Seth's.
Okay, so have we got the list covered?
is it okay as the minute taker if I just go through it and just to be 100% sure?
I didn't
got
hear
up.
Medog Pond.
Let me just make sure that we're not doing Critchett's, Rubens, or Wash.
Correct.
Correct.
I didn't hear Meadowbog Pond.
Yeah, I did, that's
Laura,
with Lara.
Laura's doing,
That-
okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
So should I run
Okay, now
through
we need to decide on some dates.
Carolyn, can I just go through just to confirm so I've got the minutes right?
Yes,
So we're going to check with Mike Brink and hopefully Mike and Ed will do Pilgrim.
Yes.
Judith is doing Uncle Israel's, Uncle Seth, Sarah, Shoal, Deep, and Gould. Lara, with her fine assistant, is doing Baker's, Crystal, Meadow Bog, and Kettle. And Carolyn, with her assistants, is doing Boland, Uncle Harvey's Pond, Ice House Pond, and Twinings. Is that everything?
Think so.
Is-
Okay.
Who's doing Gould Pond?
I am.
Judith.
Okay, all right.
Okay, so if we can find some dates and all get out there and do this together on a couple of different days, then that will make the transportation much easier.
So
So,
that first week, the 17th, the only thing I have on my calendar for that day is a water quality meeting.
right,
That, are we holding it or are we canceling it?
it would be nice to have one to get back together to figure out the letter thing and get back in touch with our consultants, but we have sampling on the 10th and sampling on the 24th. So the only thing to do and the weekend of,
So did you want to make the sampling the same day as estuary sampling?
I think
No,
that's a
don't-
little tough.
I
to
think
do.
that's very tough.
No,
I agree. So
I don't think
no,
that
I
was
don't
her
want to.
intent.
Okay.
And last time we set a
First
date, so
week, the week of the 17th, I'm not available on Tuesday, the 18th.
Okay,
I could do Wednesday. And I could do Thursday.
how are
so,
those two set with everybody else?
so last year we did a primary date and a backup date.
Oh,
Well, we can't do them all at once
we
because
can't do
I
them
don't think,
all at once.
I don't,
My days
think
of
we have a
doing
bug-
6 ponds in one day are kind
No,
of,
that's what I'm saying. So we set up 3 or 4 dates and then
Right.
based on the weather, those are the dates we used.
right. So
So you're
are
saying
there any
Wednesday,
days
the
in the following
19th?
week?
I'm getting there.
That first week works good for us because we usually go away that last week in August.
Okay, so the 19th and the 20th would work for you?
Yeah, the 19th or the 20th or even like the 17th. All those work. Any day works pretty much.
Well, this morning of the 17th, we have a committee meeting.
Still works.
Okay, so what about
So 19 and 20, and then the following
19
week.
and
pick
20,
2
and
more.
the following week, if we need it due to weather problems or whatever, the 25th, 26th, 27th. And hopefully we can get them all done those first 2 days. But if we have to go into the second week, I can cover your ponds for you, Laura.
So should we just keep it both Wednesday, Thursday? So either 19 or 20 or 26 or 27?
That's fine. As I say, I could also do Tuesday, the 25th on that week, if it's needed. If it's not, fine.
Well, I think we want to cram as many of these together as possible so that we send the
Oh,
courier.
absolutely.
Huh?
Absolutely.
So
I'm
let's,
just thinking of weather emergencies. If we end up
Yes.
getting 3 days straight or 2 days straight of rain,
Right.
it's always good to have another date just blocked out so that we can get out there. I'm not suggesting we sample on 5 days. I'm hoping
No.
we can do all the sampling on 2 days.
So let's all put the 19th and 20th of August on our calendars and work with our teams to try and do it in those 2 days.
Yep.
And then if that doesn't work, we'll slip to the next week on the 26th.
26 or 27.
Okay,
I think that'll cover it. It worked well last year.
okay. I have asked an individual who has great mechanical skills and a business doing such things to see if he can rectify the problems that we've had with our samplers. He has 2 of them right now, and I have another one here, which I need to get to him because they have been falling apart underwater, and therefore we've lost one, and I don't want to lose any more. So I will get the other one to him today and see what he's thinking about how he can mechanically hold those things together so that we don't lose them.
Are these the Niskins you're talking about
Yeah,
for the freshwater ponds?
yes. I
They're-
call beta
they-
bottles.
They've been around for a while if they're the ones bought years ago.
No, they're not. They're fairly new.
Oh. Oh,
What's
Some-
happening with them? They're not closing
The,
right?
the screw mechanism that holds the bands around the bottle and
Yeah.
holds it to the handle have been coming loose, and the whole harness has been coming loose and the bottle slipping out of it. So I just want some fail-safe method aside from screwing tight onto a piece of plastic so he and I brainstormed the other day, a way to do that. And so I will take him the third one. So we have 3 of them, so which means that 3 teams can go out at once. So I will work on that again today and get him the third one, which I didn't have at the lab the other day. And hopefully that'll give him several weeks to work on them.
If
See
we
what
can't come up
brainstorm.
with a solution, I'm glad. I think that, we can try to look at it over here too. We're glad to take a peek.
Now, this is Dick Hersey, who has great skills in such things, and he's done a lot of marine equipment
All right.
too, so. I'm gonna see what he can do for us. Okay, so we'll
Okay,
get the number of bottles off to Ed, and hopefully Judy can bring them back when she comes back on the 10th. That'll be perfect timing to get all the equipment together and get 3 teams up and going. Okay, great. Judy,
I'm sorry,
the
I'm
next,
sorry, Carolyn, but do I need to contact Sarah at SMAS about the bottles, or are you going to do that?
I've usually gone through Ed, but I think probably Sarah's the better person at this point.
I just want to know which one of us is doing it. Or is Judy going to do that when she's,
No, we need to send out an order ahead of time. So if you can let her know.
okay, I will be in
And
touch
I-
with that example.
We need to add enough bottles to do duplicates probably on 3 days.
Ah. Okay. Thank you for
So
that.
you're supposed to do duplicate, 10% of the samples are supposed to be replicated with duplicates.
Yep,
And you're supposed to do it on every day that you go out. So if we can cram the days together, we can satisfy both of those things at once.
okay. I'll be in touch on that then. Thank you.
Okay. So I don't have any extras in the lab to add to that. Okay,
Yeah, just, I'm sorry again but I don't see any numbers of bottles down for bakers.
they may have been doing that last year. SMAS may have been doing bakers last year.
Is that a 4-bottle pond?
Yes,
Thank you. Okay, I think I can finally stop gabbing about sampling. Thank you.
okay. Judy, can you give us a short update on herring for this season?
yes, I can. This was a very unusual year, obviously, because of the COVID-19 situation. So unfortunately, we did not have a lot of volunteers doing visual counts this year, which we normally have had. This was the 13th year of our herring and eel count at the Pilgrim Lake Herring Run. We did have an electronic fish counter in place. It was in place last year. It had some electronic issues, and unfortunately this year it also had some issues where one of the tubes, there are 2 tubes that the fish swim through, and it detects movement through the tube. There's one tube that was periodically double counting, and sometimes it would even send another count to the other tube. It was very frustrating. However, I think the problem, at least according to the engineer at the Division of Marine Fisheries, is that the velocity, the flow velocity at Pilgrim Lake coming through the run there is about the lowest for what the electronic counter is spec'd for. And they suspect that that's what's causing the problem, is the fish, when it's not a strong velocity, fish can come into the tube, hesitate, maybe back up a little bit and then go through, and it's resulting in like getting a double count. And I don't know what we can do about that, but talking with Brad Chase at the Division of Marine Fisheries, we have two options really. We can try one more year for year 3 and see if we can tweak it a little bit and have it work properly. Or we could switch over to a video counting system. And if we did that, then the Division of Marine Fisheries would provide the video counter at no charge, because they would take the electronic counter that the town bought and use it in another town that has higher velocity water flow. So I need to discuss this with Nate Sears and with Scott Johnson. I have talked with Scott already, and but I need to connect with Nate. He's been very busy, so he asked me to wait until things calm down a little bit for him. I don't know if that will ever happen, but I will talk to him. Both Scott and I feel that, you know, we might want to go with the video counter and not spend another year with this. If the velocity is just too slow at Pilgrim Lake, we're going to have the same problem next year. But it did record over 13,000 herring. It wasn't deployed or turned on until that first week of April. And this year the herring arrived very early, the earliest ever, like March 14th, I believe it was. And so Scott Johnson visually estimated that before the electronic counter was even installed, that first week of April, at least 2,500 herring came in and migrated up the run. He and I both agree, based on our own visual observations, that this was the largest run that we've observed since I've been observing, which is 13 years, and Scott even longer than that. So we know that there were a lot of fish that were coming through. They also were coming through pretty consistently, which is really too bad that we didn't have the visual counts to verify what was going on with the electronic counter. Unlike last year, where we had a full complement of volunteers, we were able to, you know, kind of tell what was going on. But this year, I did have some real diehard volunteers like Judith Bruce, who went out and did some visual counts, and we had about I don't know, a dozen people total doing the counts, but I don't think it's enough for, you know, statistically to make any conclusions on what was actually passing through. So that's too bad, but we'll get it next year, hopefully. Eels also, they put in a brand new eel pass this year. And Sigurd and I were counting eels. It almost caused a divorce, but because there were sometimes a lot of eels in the eel pass. But it was a very good year for eels, and last year was also, so that's encouraging. So that's really the brief update. They did continue to run right up to when a few days before the counter was pulled out at the end of the month, end of May. And herring also, there's a bypass chute, and herring were leaving by the thousands once they opened up the bypass chute. So it was really nice to see so many fish in that run this year. It was one day that it looked like a miniature Stony Brook in Brewster, because I mean, the backs of the herring were out of the water, and you know, it was
Wow.
solid with fish, and it was just beautiful to see that.
Now, just a clarification, is that 13,000 fish including the double counts? Or is
Yeah,
that adjusted?
That's what the counter counted, and it doesn't always double count. So the Division of Marine Fisheries needs to go back through the data sheets and try to figure out what and when it was doing it and what to adjust, how to adjust the number. But again, you have to also add you know, there's anecdotal observations by Scott Johnson, which he's pretty accurate at estimating that there were at least 2,500 fish that came through in those 2 weeks prior. And that's, you know, he's not seeing what comes through at night. And as Nighthawk, Cecil Newcomb can tell you, they do migrate at night, right, Cecil?
I sure do.
Yes, they do. So, yeah. I won't know the exact, you know, or whatever number that they give me in the end, but it did record a lot of fish. And it got a lot of attention when people were down there. A lot of people came down. You know, it's all been redone down there with the new dam and the new fishway. And a lot of people came down every day, especially with COVID. People want to get out and take a walk, but a lot of people came to the run to observe it. So it was really nice to see that.
Judy, maybe this will help you out. I yesterday went through, as some of you know, I take precipitation readings every day, which go to a state and a federal agency. So I started adding them up from January on, and I will send you an email with the totals for each month. April was not a bad month for water, for precipitation, but May, June, July, and as you know, August have been really, really dry. So I think variation in precipitation from one year to the next may have a lot to do with when the fish come in and that whole flow issue that you're seeing at the top of the run. So
Right.
let me just give you those numbers and you can add them into your thought processes. So
Yeah, that would be great. You know, we have good head pressure in the very beginning, but then as lake levels start dropping, you have less and less. So
right. So I'll give you those numbers, and if they are helpful, then
that's
Go ahead and use them.
great. I did notice one thing that maybe others have observed this, but it was the first year for me. There were a lot of white herons. And or yeah, I think,
egrets.
are they the great white egret, or they're big? They're the big ones, not
Yeah,
the little
great.
cattle egrets, but the big
Great
large ones.
egrets.
Okay. Well, there's a rookery that appears to have established on Pilgrim Lake, adding to the nutrient loads, I'm sure, but there are about a dozen. Sometimes they're out on the island late in the afternoon. Sometimes they're in the trees on the far shore. But I have seen a lot of them there, and they're hanging around, or at least they were, as well as black-capped night herons and others that were in the run. I could see their footprints all in the sand where they'd been picking off the eels and the herring. And for the first time, I saw some seagulls actually sitting in trees, which is not normal, or I don't see that often. They were down at the bottom of the run in that old dead willow tree, but they also perched on top of some pine trees at the top of the run, waiting, because some of the vegetation is missing there that was protecting the run. So, but those egrets are new, at least to my eyes.
Predators have found the right spot.
Well, it's also added nutrients.
But it just confirms that the numbers that SMAS used for the prior year's data, it shows that we're going to be at the high end of the herring in terms of the nutrient load into the pond for future remediation.
Yeah, and I don't know how to, I would love to talk to somebody about that in more detail, Ed Eichner, as well as other people out there, because there've been herring in Pilgrim Lake for hundreds of years. And way back in the 1800s, herring were described as in the terms of barrels of herring at that herring run. So there used to be a lot of herring that used that run. You know, now, of course, with development, we have more nutrient loading, but the pond could carry the numbers of herring in the past. So it's something that needs to be looked at in more detail in the future.
Yeah,
And plus the adults are out of there. The adults are gone by the end of May. So,
right. But I think that was Ed Eichner's point when we discussed this long ago, was that when the herring count was low, was basically when development was occurring. So we haven't had fully developed plus high herring counts at the same time. And
Right.
that's what is creating the additional nutrient load. And I had asked him about the water flow and whether the towns upstream town wells might be limiting the water flow at Pilgrim. And I'm pretty sure the analysis said that he did not think that the town withdrawal of water was impacting the water flow of Pilgrim. But I'd have to reread it to be sure.
Carol, did you have a question?
Yeah, what I don't remember from that original data was whether or not the high nutrients that showed up in the spring sample, which we've likely attributed to the herring, remained during the course of the season, or if that most of that was flushed out before it settled into the sediment.
I think we all would need to go back and revisit that whole report and with the kinds of questions we now have before we make any decisions about it. But I think,
I think that was very much up in the air. That was,
Yeah.
I heard that as a soft, maybe this is where it's coming from, but not
Right.
any way a firm, yes, this caused it.
But I'm still wondering, is it temporary every year anyway?
But I think that maybe we should keep sampling instead of just doing it twice a season. We have all these questions about Pilgrim Lake about whether or not it could be from precipitation or whether it's from the herring. Maybe we should realistically consider taking a couple samples throughout the spring and then into the summer to see what the nutrients are doing based on various years of precipitation.
Lara, the SMAS did that for 3 years. So first of all, we ought to look at their data and see what it shows, but that would be a good way to back that up.
There are other things that we don't know that can be going on in Pilgrim Lake. We don't know about the freshwater bass population. There are certainly a lot of them in there. That population could be increasing also. I'm not sure if yellow perch are still in there. They probably are. American eel. You know, there are other
Pickerel.
there's pickerel in there. There are other fish, and we don't know what's going on with their populations at this time. It could be a combination of things I'm suggesting.
Judy, I have one question for you. You had mentioned a video counts. Who would be the person that would pay for the cost of video analysis for reviewing the video for all the counts of herring? Because that's very costly.
Well, it would be volunteers doing it, Laura. So there wouldn't be costs associated with that. There are a couple towns, I think Mashpee and Plymouth have video count systems. And I know in one case, there's a system where people can log on from all over the world and do a 10-minute count. It's kind of interesting. But it's based on people counting as volunteers. And so in a COVID year, if we ever have this unfortunate thing happen next year, it's actually a very safe way to do counting from the comfort of your home.
With a lot of citizen science being done that way.
Yep.
For lots of species right now. People online take a segment of data and analyze it, count it, and report it, and it's being added to the total for that particular species. So it is a way to do it. Okay, anything else on Pilgrim Lake?
Well, I was just going to comment that in the final report where they're showing the phosphorus sources, they were showing that in June, the herring contributed 20% and the sediments contributed 12%. But by August, 0 for the herring and 26% for the sediments.
Yeah.
So I think, I don't know exactly what that means, but they did factor it in and then remove it for the months when the herring were not present.
Yeah, I think that shows that when the water warms up, then you get the sediments contributing to the load in the pond.
The adult herring are gone by then, but the juveniles are still there, or some of them are, although they were leaving in May also. Some of the early ones, the herring that arrived really early, and those juveniles were already leaving, you know, in May.
Hmm.
Okay, let's go on to the dredge committee. And I'm going to suggest to Betsy, if you have a long report to give to the committee in the future, that probably doing it in writing, and then we'll add it as an addendum to the minutes, rather than expecting the person who's doing the minutes to write out all as you say. Because I
Okay,
know you've been doing it in detail to help us understand what's going on there, but I think it's a lot to ask the person who's doing the minutes to get all that detail
okay,
as you're speaking. So
all right.
anyway, today you get to do both.
All right. There were about 6 things we covered at the last DAC meeting, and we've been meeting frequently. And also the Nauset Estuary Stakeholder Group is up and running. And the second meeting of that group is coming up this week. So it's been very active. So first point was the questions about Rock Harbor dredging. There were documents that showed what was done in the past. But some members of the committee want to do an analysis of what if Rock Harbor was all dredged hydraulically instead of the mix of hydraulic and mechanical. So they are looking into that and trying to update that. The dredge purchase feasibility study, the financial model will be available on August 10th. And I will forward that to everyone so that they have that. By the end of August, the full technical report will be completed by Adam Finkel. And then we are planning one meeting in early September with Adam, because we only have money left for one more meeting. So we're trying to use our funds efficiently there. The Nauset Estuary Stakeholder Group was assembled on July 9th. There were a lot of organizational and procedural questions. So they couldn't take many official actions because they didn't have a chairman, vice chair, etc. So hopefully this week that will all be taken care of. But the first task of that group will be to get a letter to the state for the special review procedure, so that all of the federal, entities are coordinated for the permitting. For Pleasant Bay disposal sites, Woods Hole Group is going to go on site with members of the committee. Most of the old disposal sites in Pleasant Bay are no longer available. So it really is going to be a challenge to find sites within the Pleasant Bay system for disposal. And of course, they very much want to keep any sand or material within the system in Pleasant Bay. They don't really, it's not preferable to have it trucked out in terms of permitting and the state. So that's in process. The improvement dredging issue was taken by Judy Scanlon to Charlie. She provided some background on some current information and the grant, I forget, is it Judy, the SNEP grant, where a number of the pieces of information that DAC was looking for were already in process. So they have had, I think, 2 phone calls with Carol Ridley, and they are continuing their discussions. I think she felt there would need to be a lot of work to be able to consider improvement dredging within the Pleasant Bay system. Freshwater pond dredging. There was a citizen petition that was on the town meeting that was moved to fall, specifically requesting support for dredging of freshwater ponds. It was very clear to me that the process that we used to determine whether or not we were going to dredge was not fully understood. So I provided a letter to Charlie, the chair of DAC, outlining the history of the freshwater pond work, how it started in 2010 as a part of wastewater work. It got sort of shelved as we focused on the major issue, which is the saltwater estuaries. got bounced to a working group in 2015 or 16, and then moved to our committee in 2016 or 17. I'd have to look at my notes for the exact dates. So I tried to give the DAC chairman a perspective of how we analyze dredging, where it shows up in the process. And I gave him the samples from the Pilgrim Lake study, which showed not only the costing for the alternatives, but this idea that in Pilgrim Lake, only 20% of the phosphorus is being regenerated from sediments. So if only 26% of the problem is in sediments, even if you take out those 26% by dredging the sediments, you still are going to have a problem in Pilgrim Lake. So hopefully, now that Carolyn has determined there's funds for Ed Eichner and Dr. House to meet with DAC, that is the next step. We will schedule a meeting where all parties can be present. And definitely, I think all members of this committee should tune into that meeting, because Dr. House has just so much information and so much knowledge, not only of freshwater dredging, but the tidal prisms and the other things that are changing that could affect dredging in the future. And then the county is going to actually visit the Nauset Inlet. That date is not determined because a new superintendent of dredging is in the process of being selected. But I assume Nate and a number of members of our group and the county will actually go there to determine if it's actually possible to get the county dredge into that very treacherous inlet. So we're covering a lot of ground. There's a lot of unanswered questions, but I think it's been parceled out so that Woods Hole Group is moving ahead on a number of fronts. I should also note that they are adding the Mill Pond to the Nauset dredging process. A model was done by Woods Hole Group showing that the red tide cysts would not be further dispersed through the system if dredging was done at the Mill Pond. So they are going to try to add that to the total Nauset estuary dredging process. I think that's it. Question?
Thank you very much. Anybody have any questions for Betsy?
I do. I have a question. Betsy, do you know if the DAC has read the Pleasant Bay Resource Management Plan?
No, but I'm going to send them a letter recommending they do that, because when you mentioned that to me, and I went on site and found that 166-page report, it was chock full of incredible information.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
I will definitely be recommending that. I just didn't, I'm a paper person, and obviously 166 pages are not coming off my printer. So I'm going to highlight the segments that I think are most important for the DAC, because they separated out the dredging and a number of issues that are very important to the dredging committee.
Well, maybe the Woods Hole Group, I mean, they should have been aware of that. It's the 2018 Pleasant Bay
Yes.
Resource Management Plan, but it was revised in 2020.
Yes, and you're
And
right.
that-
I did
Yeah.
find it on the Chatham website, and it did
Right.
have the update.
Right, but
It gets
I have to ask
updated and revised every 5 years, and it also gets approved by all 4 town meetings every 5 years.
right. So I would think that the Woods Hole Group would have found that document, because it has, aerial maps of Pleasant Bay and where dredge disposal is permitted and where historical dredging was done and where improvement dredging would be allowed. I mean, it's just loaded with information.
Well, I
The
do.
other-
Go ahead.
The other thing that, the other document I found on the Town of Chatham's website is that Graham Geis at the Center for Coastal Studies has issued a report on his tide gauges. And I know, at one point, Woods Hole Group was proposing to put a tide gauge in at Meeting House Pond. I knew there was one there already that Dr. Geis has, but he has issued a report and it's on the Chatham website. It includes the Meeting House Pond tide gauge.
And all
So
of these reports are on the Pleasant Bay Alliance website, which is simply
Right.
pleasantbay.org.
Thank
It's
you, Judah.
all of the tide gauge reports from Graham, all of the coastal processes reports, the resource management plans, everything.
So I
Okay,
think, make sure your committee is aware that those documents exist.
Okay.
It's good reference material.
And I think that Leslie was using those documents. I will double check with her because she had all the historical information, and that's the only way that she could have determined when she went parcel by parcel along the shoreline. That is the only way that she could have reached the conclusion that all the previous sites that were disposal sites are no longer available. So now we're confronted with new disposal sites. And I am uncomfortable personally approaching private homeowners on an issue that is very significant and very costly without a scientist or someone with more notice of intent and other knowledge meeting with these folks. So I have voiced that concern to Charlie before they start sending people out to chat up people at their front doors.
And it's a challenge because the inlet the Chatham Inlet has moved significantly just since last year. It is way south now. And so everything needs to be, it's a moving system and a very dynamic system, as is Nauset Estuary too.
Absolutely.
Okay. The next item on the agenda is committee. It says committee membership and leadership. Carol's term and my term were up on the end of June. Carol asked that she be reappointed. I've had so many terms, I can't even count them at this point. So I am not up for reappointment. So I don't know when the select board will get around to doing that. I don't know at this point if they have some good candidates available. If you know anybody who would be interested, now is the time to get them to fill out an interest indicator and get it into the selectman's office.
Carolyn, I will comment that the selectmen do have the ability to make exceptions when it comes to appointments, should they just, there's certain criteria, but they are able to do that.
Yes, I know that. I think they did that
Carolyn's
last.
tired.
They did that for me last time, 3 years ago. So I'm well over the deadlines.
You should hold out for a salary.
Yeah.
Yes.
Good luck.
Dream on.
Cecil,
Yes.
don't let her off the hook.
Cecil, do
So-
you know of candidates that have been put forth?
I haven't seen anything. We don't know until we get the agenda for the next week, what boards are going to be addressed.
I
And
knew of a couple people who were interested, but I haven't heard from anybody. I mean, everyone went to ground last March. I haven't heard anything since.
There is an applicant for the committee. I know there's one out there who's applied for both the Water Quality Committee and the Shellfish and Waterways Committee.
So obviously we're going to need more than one if they have multiple places to fill. So anyway, I'm doing this to say that if my position is not filled by the end of September, I am going to send an official letter of resignation so that I can get on to doing other things with my life. So it is the tradition that each committee vote on new leadership after a new committee is constituted. I don't know whether you want to think about doing that today in August or wait till September. That is at your pleasure. So I'm asking you what you'd like to do.
Well, Carolyn, my very first question would be, are you willing to continue to serve as chair as long through till September?
Yes, I would.
We don't need to reorganize today.
Right.
It can just continue. I think we should just let it be business as usual until the select board makes their appointments.
That's why I asked the question if Carolyn was willing to continue to serve as chair. If there's no reason to reorganize, we shouldn't.
That's
In
what
my
I'm asking.
Be available.
Carol, what do you think?
I will not be available for any of this. I will not be at the August meeting. So I would like to wait till at least September.
Okay.
Betsy?
No,
do
I
you
think
think?
waiting till September makes sense. If we're going to have a new committee member, I think it's prudent that that person have an opportunity to vote in. Who knows, maybe they're the secretary.
Okay, Ed?
Yeah,
Well, I'm all set for waiting and hoping you come back.
and I would say
Sorry for my telephone.
for sure, September, we're right in the middle of freshwater pond sampling, estuary sampling. It would be
Right.
great to change leadership now,
Okay,
Right.
Lara?
September.
Larry, you're muted.
Lara, you with us?
Yeah, I'm glad to wait till September.
Okay, all right. That seems to be the consensus, so.
I
We'll leave it
mean,
as
maybe
it is.
Betsy wants to take on secretary. That's fine with me if she wants
No,
that.
no. You just heard Carolyn. I'm going to have to provide minutes for the DAC every time. And I spend many hours in DAC meetings. So I will not be available for any other function within Marine. I've got more than I can handle.
All right.
Yes, that committee is a challenge. So, back to that one for just a minute. Charlie Carsland, who's the chair, is trying to get together a meeting at the end of September, which sort of surprises me with the report that you just gave, Betsy, because he's trying to go to like the 21st or the 28th of September for a meeting with me and Dr. House and Ed Eichner. So I don't know how
Do
that
it
fits
sooner.
into.
I just don't know what to say because this initially came about to explain in more detail how the process of freshwater dredging is done and to explain the cost differential. In other words, why have we been rejecting dredging? Well, it's primarily been not a twofold or a threefold, it's like 100 to 150 fold cost difference. So we have not been considering dredging, and the dredging committee is of the opinion, some members of the dredging committee are of the opinion that if we had a town-owned dredge, that the costs would be lower. I contend the cost would never be as low as the other options that are available. But if they choose to have their consultant factor in the difference in the cost of dredging with a town-owned dredge, then that's certainly an appropriate calculation for Adam Finkel of Woods Hole Group to be able to do. But George Meserve indicated that he would very much like Dr. House there, because I think he was looking for a broader discussion of the changes in the tidal prism. And I think George was trying to give DAC a broader perspective on some of the issues that confront us when trying to dredge in these, as we have just described, these incredibly dynamic, changing estuaries. So I was a little uncomfortable with him pushing it off till September, but I just don't know if, well, number one, I don't know Ed and Dr. House's availability in August. A lot of people take vacation then. So I kind of look to you, Carolyn, you know those two parties much better than I. And if we wanted to try to schedule a special meeting sooner, I guess we could propose that since we're paying the bill.
Okay, we'll see what we can work out. It seems strange to be looking at a financial model without that information.
Right.
Well, that's my feeling, but remember that financial model won't be available until August 10th. And the full report won't be ready until September. But I personally would rather have their input at the end of August before Adam Finkel comes in. And if you would like me
You
to
pay him
write
to do
that
it
letter-
twice.
Yeah, if you would like me to write that letter to Charlie, I will, but it seems silly to write that letter till we know if Ed and Dr. House are available.
Okay, I'll see if I can find out about that.
Okay, all right, sounds like a plan.
Okay, so I have public comment at the bottom here. Anybody have anything else that I'd like to contribute?
Are
I
we still? we still need to approve February minutes. That's the last thing.
It wasn't on our agenda.
Which?
I
meeting?
know, that's why I'm saying we need, I'm just informing the chair that we need to approve February minutes.
I don't think anybody has them in front of them right now, so I guess that will wait.
Put that on the agenda for our next meeting.
Yep.
If that's the case, would you resend? My memory is a bit challenged to go back to February.
Yeah, I'll try to resend as we get closer, because I know everybody kind of forgets when, I'll send them a couple days before the meeting.
How about if you do it now and let's see if there's any more changes that need to be made so we can do it once and for all and at the next meeting.
I think that we did that at the last time,
Okay,
and then we kind of went through an email, and you basically, you were approving the minutes as they were, but the whole committee hasn't approved them yet. So
okay,
that's the one thing that we need to do, is just have the whole committee approve it, which I think
Okay.
will be fine.
okay. Thank you for reminding us about that.
Yeah, no problem.
Anybody else? Judy?
The Brewster Pond Coalition is having their virtual annual meeting in August. I can't remember the date. Maybe you can remember, but I know it's like mid-August, I think. If people want to participate in that. And also SMAST will be doing the Lonnie's Pond Flux, the sediment fluxes around mid-August.
Okay, yes, there's an announcement that just came out about the Brewster meeting. It's on Saturday, August 8th. So
Oh,
they're
sorry.
looking for people to register now. Because they have a limit of 100 people and they have limited spaces left. So if you want to do it, I would say do it today. If you want me to send this,
They're doing an in-person 100-person
no,
No.
virtual.
Zoom.
virtual. Thank
Zoom.
you.
Yeah, I said virtual.
Okay.
So-
I heard
Yeah,
you,
just-
Judy, but I didn't hear Carolyn talking. When she was talking, never mind. It's okay.
The interesting part to me is that Sophia Fox, who's the aquatic ecologist for the Seashore, is going to be talking about climate change and its impact on freshwater ponds on Cape Cod.
She's very good.
Yes, so I'll forward that on to you today and something
She's
you
done
want
lots
to
of
do.
work on pH and some other
Yes.
interesting things with freshwater ponds.
And Carolyn, I think I just saw an email about they've closed a pond in Brewster due to cyanobacteria being present.
Seymour?
Yes. There-
Seymour, yes.
APCC is out there testing ponds all over the place and they've had several closed in different towns. This is, I would think, perfect cyanobacteria weather. It's just been, hot, humid still. And perfect growing conditions. Be interesting to
Let's
see what the
hope-
pond temperatures are when we get there.
Let's
Are
hope Uncle
Carolyn?
Harvey stays.
Well, that was my question. So it's really up to me. If I see something that looks suspicious, I have to notify the Board of Health. No one from the Board of Health is going to send someone from the
No.
state out unless I
You could-
request.
You can call me or call the head of the health department and he will put the mechanism in place to have it tested.
Because obviously with COVID, there has been much, much, much more activity on the pond. A lot of fishing people, a very sad day when I had 2 little electronic motorboats going crazy, scaring the egrets, scaring the heron. But people are using it, they're enjoying it, but they're swimming in it too. And I don't know, when I go down there, it's not maybe to the level of cyanobacteria, but the particles in the algae in the pond are very significant. So it just makes me nervous with so many people in town now utilizing this resource because of COVID. I think we have to be on our toes here and, we don't have the monitoring like Brewster has with APCC. So I don't know if there's an interim step we should be doing or I don't know, whatever your suggestion is.
I would just keep an eye on it. And if you really see a change in it, call Bob Canning.
Okay, all right.
The health
Sarah's
department.
pond also. Sarah's sometimes has cyanobacterial blooms too.
Yep, Sarah's, I take algae samples almost every
Right. Great.
And there has been cyanobacteria this year.
Carol,
there
did you have a
are-
question?
They're always
It
present.
was answered,
Yeah,
thanks.
it has not risen to a
Right.
level. I mean, when we get it, when we see it, if it's around, let all the abutters know, but it has not risen to a level of.
No,
report.
I remember seeing the Sarah's like green, bright green.
Yeah.
years
well,
ag- years
Sarah
ago.
has also had those marbled,
Yeah.
Yeah,
not for about 10 years, but yeah,
Right.
had
right.
some really dynamic algae blooms
Yes.
in the past.
So
Shall-
Judith, do you think for the next meeting, you could give an update on Sarah's Pond and what's been happening over there?
Sure.
Agenda item for Carolyn. And
Okay,
the same with Cedar Pond. I just feel like I've lost touch with whether SMAST is doing activities at Cedar Pond or not doing activities. We've lost the cormorants, so I'm
They
I'm
are.
hoping there's a big improvement. So I'd love to hear more about Cedar Pond as well.
they are doing semi-annual reports. So twice a year they send out a report.
But we haven't
Oh,
seen a
there.
report since this time last year.
I will see what I can find for the latest one.
Okay. Thank you.
And bug 'em on Crystal. I'd really like to know where we are. I did have Alan McLennan mention to me that at the last water and sewer meeting that they did propose the 4 upgradient houses at Uncle Harvey's Pond to be put on the sewering system. So I felt, yes, Judith, I was very joyful that it has gotten to that point.
Yes.
But I really feel we've got to get Crystal and Pilgrim combined so we know if we need to make a sewering proposal,
Absolutely.
it's going to be a very long, very hard push. So the sooner we can identify that, the better. And I'm sorry, but this is August and that report was due January 1st. We are just
Yeah.
way beyond a reasonable amount of time for that to be coming to our desks.
I
Well,
agree.
obviously, I need to be in touch with Ed today, so now I have a list.
Thank you.
Okay, are we
Move adjourned.
finished? Judith moves to adjourn.
I second that.
Judy Scanlon seconds that. All in favor? I guess we have to do this by roll call.
Just can we say
Um,
aye?
Yes,
I, Laura, I.
Ed,
Carol,
aye. Carol
Judy,
says
aye.
aye. Judith says
Betsy,
aye.
aye.
Betsy, aye. Judy Scanlon, aye. And Carolyn, aye. So thank
Stay
you
safe,
all. And we'll see you on the 10th for sampling and
But the August meeting is going to be our 3rd Monday of the month for August,
it's the
right?
17th.
Okay,
Yes.
so that's
Oh,
term.